With your CIGTV News Update, I'm Donna Bush. Today, hundreds of attendees at the annual Royal Fidelity Cayman Economic Outlook listened as Premier the Honourable Alden McLaughlin spoke about the Cayman Islands economy, as well as the present and proposed future projects.
Over a period of decades, we have gradually allowed taller buildings as the demand for property for development increased. This demand continues and indeed strengthens, and with the growth we are now experiencing, there is already pressure to go beyond the current maximum of 10 stories above ground level. By way of a kickstart to that debate, I can say today that representatives from DART Enterprises have recently spoken to government regarding plans for a landmark development within Camana Bay that includes an iconic tower that would greatly exceed the current development height limits, creating a new skyline that would be recognizable the world over. With this development, they will commit to investing in excess of an additional $1.5 billion into the Cayman Islands economy, not just in the development itself, but in critical infrastructure improvements and supporting workforce development. I believe we must at least take a long, hard look at the potential for the kind of tower DART is proposing. The development would necessarily be mixed use with hotel, residential, retail, and entertainment spaces. The potential economic benefits are considerable.
The Cayman Economic Outlook Conference is an annual conference that brings together leading thinkers and doers to explore how global business, technology, science, finance, politics, and culture help to shape the Cayman Islands economy. And you can watch our Premier's entire speech at the Royal Fidelity Cayman Economic Outlook earlier today here on CIGTV this evening at 6:10 p.m. and again tonight at 8 o'clock. Meantime, the Honourable Premier also talked about the Plan Cayman, the Cayman Islands Development Plan. Today is the deadline for public input on the first phase of that plan. Hear more now from Minister for Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, the Honourable Joseph Hew.
We are excited as we move into the next phase of our National Development Plan. The law requires that we review the National Development Plan every 5 years, but unfortunately this has not been done since 1997. So this was a priority of mine, a priority of our ministry, that we wanted to be compliant with the law, and we saw the importance of planning for the future as we go through this building boom we have. So I would encourage everyone, if you missed the deadline, to take the survey and to provide input for this phase, which is just a strategic framework, that you still go online to plancayman.ky and have a read about what we're trying to achieve and what we plan to do. Mm-hmm. The way we're going to approach this is that we're going to break the development plan up into the country into 5 different sectors, mm-hmm. and we'll do one sector a year, and then and keep revolving that. So every 5 years we would have done a complete review. But if we tried to review the entire island all at once, it would take us 5 years to do it. And then when we present it, we'd have to start all over again. So by doing it in zones, we can actually do one zone a year, the 5 zones, and by the end of the year it'd be time, and we'd be able to go back and start the one that we did 5 years ago again, mm-hmm. and just continue on in that way. So the first zone will be the 7 Mile Beach zone, okay. And then during that process over the next few months, we will use this framework to guide us, but we will continue to engage with the public as we come down to making the final decisions on what we do in that zone.
And we invite you to tune in to Minister Hughes' interview here on CIG Television this Friday, March 1st, following For the Record at 8 p.m. Finally, from tomorrow, Friday, March 1st, it will be illegal to take, purchase, receive, or possess lobsters from Cayman waters until November 30th. The National Conservation Law sets the closed season for lobster fishing from the 1st of March through to the 30th of November each year. The closed season for various protected waters and species, including lobster, are set to allow these creatures a chance to repopulate in the wild. Those caught illegally taking lobster or other protected species during a closed season will face potential prosecution and may be fined or imprisoned. The DOE also wishes to remind residents and visitors that the closed season for Nassau grouper continues during their spawning season through to April the 30th, and that the penalties for illegally taking or possessing those fish are the same for that species. And that ends today's news update. If you missed it, you can go to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page as well as the CIG Television YouTube channel. I'm Donna Bush, as always, thanking you for joining me, wishing you a wonderful and safe night, and inviting you back here again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman boaters use Channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!
The Esterly-Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.
Did you know that planning permission is required for an addition, alteration, or any material change to your house? The 10% rule no longer exists. Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required?